and we uninstall Dota. Goodbye, friend. It's time for me to head off. See how long this takes. And it's there. And when I started playing Dota 2, guess how many gigabytes it was? It was 28 gigabytes. Now it's 58.64. It's a massive game. And they keep on updating it and keep on going, and so 2,851 hours. And hello to a video which I wanted to do this year because it's new year, new challenges, new opportunities, new perception, new life. It's been a strange one, but I'm here. Hope you've enjoyed the Civ 5 gameplay, or at least my play modded Britannia Conquest completed. I won it. Fun playing the game. It was awesome. Sometimes you don't feel like that and energy drain. Sometimes that's why when you're playing it alone, you sort of had more sessions doing it and you have refresh your birth every time. Sometimes the start of the game, it's you always want the start of Civ 5 is so good, and then middle through you're building up, and then at the end it goes a rush to the finish line. So here today to talk about Dota 2. Dota 2 has been something that I've had with me for a long time. I have 2,845 hours in. I originally played Dota when it was Dota 1 with one of my older brothers who somehow got into it from when he was boarding, and they were playing on laptops and they were having fun, and they were playing with World of Warcraft 3. Dota 2 comes from an RTS, a real-time strategy games of World of Warcraft, but there's also Age of Empires, there's also what other good real-time strategy games? Northgard is one of those. But anyway, Battle for Middle-earth, that's also one. Basically, heroes or characters of stories or elements of that become a main focus point, and rather than focusing on buildings, resource gathering and building production, you move on to just one character or a couple characters. And so the original Dota 1 players were very good at multitasking and able to use multiple heroes, multiple characters or units during the time when you would have bases, and you'll have, let's say you're building an army and you have an army and you have to micro each unit to make sure they're going to the right place, they're targeting right character. And then they've made it simple in Dota to having one character, but you could also have a character that summons units, and then that's also macroing those units. And sometimes when people disconnect, which I may talk about if it comes up, but when people disconnect in Dota 1 and 2, you can control those characters and move them around the map and use them to help with advantage. There are heroes in Dota 2 and that are complex characters. So there's Invoker, there's Meepo. Meepo's like Warcraft 3 style character where you have multiple individual units to be used as way, but with Meepo, if one of them dies, they all die. There's Arc Warden, who has himself and another. There is the classic Lone Druid, who has himself and a bear, and the bear is basically half hero, and you can equip items to that hero. Arc Warden's double or illusion can use his abilities and items. Then there are also illusionists, so there are characters that summon illusions, and you have to macro the illusions to follow orders. You can always just A move or force move, or just click on a unit and those things will go off, and if they die it doesn't matter. They have a bounty, which I'll get into. This is going to also be like a tutorial. This is going to be a very long video, and it's going to be my last Dota video. This is my last Dota video. I won't be playing Dota 2 after this. So I'm going to talk about Dota 2 and have some images. Then I'm going to stop the recording, make the screen a bit bigger, play a game of Dota, and if I have time I'll play. So there's Turbo, and I'll play a game of Turbo, and I'll talk about the elements in that game, and then from there we'll go into an actual Dota 2 game, how it should be, I guess. So through this, they'll be going through the iterations of the game, and I'm just going to reminisce of the memories, the past, and I'm going to go into a bit of detail. I don't have any notes, I'm just going with the flow. I'm not going to have practical elements to help me talk about things. I'm just going to go off by memory, which sometimes isn't good because it's not always able to actually show off things. You may also see some characters or things or names or friends or whatever, or people on Steam. Anyway, Dota 2 is the game developed by Valve. Somehow they won the rights to it from Blizzard, and they then made Dota 2 from Dota 1. Lore wise, I won't go into lore, but quick synopsis. There is two ancients. They both want to kill each other. They both want to succeed. They use characters from all over the place. They manipulate them, even the best, even gods, even like titans, even every powerful being they get used by these two ancients. There is Arc Warden, who basically traps them after the first battle. So Dota 1 does happen. They get trapped. They lost. One of them lost, meaning they were weak. So Arc Warden was able to trap them, put them in a bond, and then put them into a moon. And from there, Dota 2, after a long period of time, Dota 2 happened where the ancients finally broke free. They made a bond that once we break free and we go for it again, that if we fail, if one of us, if we die before we get trapped, we'll go back in time and redo the battle and see who wins. So the idea is the ancients use different heroes every iteration, every time loop. So every Dota game is canon. Every arc Dota but game is also canon. Every item or accessory on the hero is also canon, and even ability draft is canon, which I'll also talk about later. Yes, so the idea is they fight each other to kill each other. One side wins, done. Then they had New Frontier, and I don't know about lore, but the whole idea is people wanted a tie so that they can both be defeated, then they can get put back in the moon, job done, life is safe. Apparently that's not the case in the lore. Instead, new and old things happened, the map got bigger, and I'll talk about that in a second. And voila, Dota 2, lore in a nutshell. So here we have 5 heroes here. We've got Juggernaut, who's the middle one. Everyone's crazy about his items because it's like a samurai, katanas and swords. Crystal Maiden, cold, wintry aesthetic. There are a lot of ice characters. There's Rubik, who steals people's abilities, spells in his, because he's a wizard. Served under Aghanim's scepter. There is Queen of Pain. So Rubik breaks a lot of Dota because new hero comes in. What does Rubik do? Steals ability of a new hero, uses it. In League of Legends, so I will be putting this as like League of Legends stuff, hashtag or whatever. So if you come from a League of Legends background, I will reference some of that stuff here because I have played League of Legends for a year and a bit with old friends who also wanted to play Dota, and then we stopped. And I was stopping with MOBA. MOBA is also the name of this genre. Massive online battle arena. So Rubik can break games. So it's Rubik, the sync of Rubik as Silas in League of Legends, but his ult can only steal ults, and then it tells you which ult he's taken. You don't know what Rubik steals unless you click on that hero and you can see what he's done. God. He can use those abilities better, sometimes with reduced cooldown or increased cast range and increased damage. Yes, and if you have Aghanim's Scepter or Shard, which I'll go into, they also transfer to the abilities if they have those upgrades on them. We have Queen of Pain, which is possibly related to another character, a Wraith King. I won't go into every single hero, but these are the ones on the image, and I'll talk about them. And yeah. Queen of Pain is just a hero you just jump in, blink to, throw something that's slow, damaging, and then scream and scream. Basically a make your ears go bye-bye. Then there is the Dragon, which is also a Dragon Knight, who basically polymorphs or transform into a different variation of a character. So he's a knight with a sword and a shield, and has a breath. And Dungeons & Dragons, he can have dragon breath as a Dragonborn. He basically has that, and then he transforms into a dragon, and then has a range attack. So it goes from melee to range, and then back to melee when duration's finished. There are only a couple of heroes that go into melee to range to melee, which I may talk about when we get there. I'm going to yes, heroes in Dota 2 have, so in League of Legends there are different groups. There is jungle, there is DBS, I think it's called, there's support, there's top lane, and there's mid. In Dota, our characters are put into attributes. Every character has an attribute. We have strength, agility, intelligence. Strength, more toughy, more hard to hit, more health over time, and usually try and take those hits, and they're slower at killing you. Some of the characters can do nasty damage, and yes, agility, swift movement, quick, fast attacks, suddenly appear like assassins, and they just come in, yeah. Scum and villainy. Then there's more sorcerers and casters, or intelligence, which basically, so strength is more HP, health regeneration. Intelligence is more mana and mana regeneration. Agility is a little bit of both, balanced out, but mostly armor based. So the more agility you have, the more armor reduction, because you have armor from agility. I don't know, I think it's about the idea of you have a higher chance of missing or whatever. This is the past. You would expect, so there is 4 spirits in the game, which, yeah, Earth spirit is strength, Ember spirit is agility, Storm spirit is intelligence. In this image, it is this one. Ember spirit is not in no. Oh yeah, also yeah. Yes. And then there is Void Spirit. Where would you put Void Spirit? Intelligence. But no. Void Spirit should only be the 4th attribute, right? But instead of having for another attribute, we have something called universal. And each attribute, if it's the main one, you gain damage from that attribute. So if your strength, you gain more base damage or damage overall because you have more strength. And the same with agility and intelligence. So the more intelligent items you have, the more damage you'll do. Universal, the only changes with universal is you gain damage for each attribute and you get a percentage of damage from those attributes. So if you're universal, you don't have to worry about focusing on strength items or agility items or intelligence items. You can focus on utility, you can focus on strength, you can focus on agility, intelligence. Utility is basically like crowd control. You can focus on defense items, offense items, and you won't matter because every attribute stacks towards your universal bonus, which is great. It's cool. Void Spirit is the universal, but now there is a pool of heroes are now universal. Some of them make sense, some of them don't. But anyway, so the reason why there is a divide here, Dota 2 previously had Dire heroes and Radiant heroes in Dota. When you're playing in a different sides of the map, Dire, you can only pick Dire heroes, and Radiant, you can pick Radiant heroes unless someone enables it, and then you can pick any hero from any pool. So that's why there's a divide. Nowadays, it's just attributes. There is the old with the new. So Dota 1 is on the left and Dota 2 is on the right. Razor looks like a wraith. Yeah, just take that in. Old veterans. Old images. And now, do I have, yeah. So there's like different images and different things. These are like the redesigned of characters. There, Marcy's new. Anti-Mage is now got a persona. Marcy's got the Dota 2 and Dragon's Blood skin. Marcy's from Dragon Blood. Drow is in the middle, and Wind Ranger is there. We'll get to that person in a second. Dota 2. So this is the pool now, rather than dividing by agility, dire and radiant. It's now a strength, agility and intelligence. This was a couple, nearly 6 years. So Mars is in there, Underlord is in there, Pangolier is in there, and is there a new intelligence? Oh yeah, Grimstroke. So these characters, there it is. So yes, this is the layout. There's many heroes, and guess what? For all those League players out there, all these heroes are free. You do not have to purchase anything. No gems, no rubies, no emeralds. Oh yeah, emeralds to collect to gain increase of score. Captain Sparkle's reference there. Yes, so those two heroes. That's what it is now. All of them look strange. There was a history of Wraith King being the Skeleton King, and that was copyright issues, and now it's called the One True King, which is basically the same thing. And now he's as his Arcana. So heroes have Arcana, which change their ability, appearance, effects, and I'll just. This is a long video, right? Abilities, effects, and yes, and then a persona is basically a new hero, but with the same play style and the elements of that hero in that. For example, when Crystal Maiden has Arcana, but she also has a wolf as a persona, so you could be a wolf instead of a maiden. Not many change. So Wraith King could be a wraith, or you can be a skeleton, for example. Razor could be his Dota 1 style or his Dota 2 style. Anti-Mage could be a male master teaching a student, and you can be the student lady, for example. Any other personas? Yeah, Pudge could be big butcher, big guy, or you can be a doll who prances around as like a puffed up doll toy thing. You see it at horror places. Yeah, what else? Dragonite. There was a persona for Dragonite, but that was just for blood anime. You can be the character, and then there was Battle Pass stuff. Yeah. Yes. Now we can go on to this image. Done that. We've done that. Yes. So this image. These are all but 2 new heroes. So the pool is about 100-ish, 120, 100. There's a lot of heroes. Primal Beast, Monkey King. That is also there is a monkey in League of Legends. Similar style but different. Pangolier is basically Sonic style roll around speed. Not that fast, but yeah. What's the name? A granny with a dragon with a shotgun and shoot fireballs on a drake. There's Dawnbreaker, who basically has a Gallius from Demacia ult, but she can ult herself and go up in the sky and land where she stands, rather than Galio, which is a support, goes to the person and makes them have a shield. She doesn't do that, she just stuns. And with Agnum Scepter you can do a bit of healing. Mars is literally God of War, but also counts as Zeus's son. Yes. Shield, spear, and creates a arena and has soldiers. Marcy is literally Marcy from anime, a character that whistles in game and punches people. Very fun play style. I think you would enjoy. Primal Beast and Marcy are fun heroes, as well as Monkey King. Monkey King can change into the only hero that can actually turn into objects of the map, like a mimic, disguise, and if you can still get a hit, but you dislodge certain things. Void Spirit, as I talked earlier. Hoodwink, which is just a squirrel with a crossbow. Grim Stroke, basically Ink is basically the places style. An ult is basically create a double of. Sorry, the ult is basically link to people. Any single targets go to those people, meaning that you can have double magic missile or any other single target stuff to them. What's the name? I can't remember. But she's also new. She has two ults for one. If you use one, that goes on cooldown. The other one, but a shorter one, goes into a shadow realm. Dark Willow. Puts down like thorns, which are the most annoying, aggravating things to navigate through. And also has a 4 seconds stun. After 4 seconds, then you stun an area. That's it. And now we could talk about the hero that really doesn't get justice, which was Ringmaster. Not very landing, but Kez landed pretty well on his feet. Similar style to Juggernaut, but has elements of Ricky and Juggernaut, and is a bird with a sword. And that is the heroes. In League of Legends, they're called champions. Some of these heroes are influenced by outside. So I don't know if you've ever heard of Hon, or is there some other thing? But yes, these characters are created by Valve and they are now in here. All these characters get items, and items can be, I'll go into this when I go into the game. I'm going to go to each little tab of what each thing does. Heroes, Armoury, Watch, Learn and Arcade. and for now I'm just gonna do the images, and then it's already nearly half an hour. I want to stop here just so I can. Welcome to Dota 2. You know what? I'm gonna make this two-parter. But it'll be the end of Dota 2 for me. So yes, you enter the screen, there's going to be a cutscene, and then it comes to the Crownfall, which is the latest big thing, and the Crownfall has end date now. They've extended it. It went over from quite some time. It's been half a year, I think, but it's been great actually. This was winter, that was, so not too bad. So on the left, you'll see my stuff. How do I just clean that? Is that a contract? Let's go with so yeah, so you have the normal Steam stuff on the left, and then you have your profile. You can edit your profile, you can add backgrounds, edit items, you can put stuff on your background, and so forth. Edit, you can move different things. Find my behavior score. Where is the details? Widgets. There it is. Do have a pen on me. Got a pencil. I'm going to write this down. 04/09/2013. That was when I first played. I played nearly 2,000 matches. Won 908 games. That's a lot. I know a lot of people out there who played those two has played more. So yeah, so there's this is your profile. This will have like people who are online and all random people. Of course, when I leave this, there won't be anything. You could interact with the things, and you can hear treasures. This is like the default button at the top here. There is settings, In the settings, this is where you can choose your ability layout. You can enable quick cast. Ability trigger as soon as the hold key is pressed and the current location of the mouse cursor. Can enable UI to bind specific keys for quick cast and auto cast under parts of keys. So yes, unit actions, set hero, set all control units. That used to be a thing. Yeah. I changed this to space, so it's force attack means your character will just attack things that allows you to deny creeps. Careers and other titles, faces, tab, scoreboard, game grip, mouse, I don't know what that means. Control log, pause. There are advanced settings to show you other different things. Unit actions, shop actions, interface. Is pause on here? Yeah, I've made it negative, but usually it's F9. The items on the right here and abilities on the left, different slots, options. This is game, so this is never, so you don't auto attack. Standard, if you've done a cast, moved or done something, you just carry attacking. Always automatically attacks enemy if you're in range. And then other interesting things. Yes, you can choose like how the camera is and the camera speed, icons, change how things are shown, alt icons, heroes with arrows, heroes only, and so forth. Hero names, so just we do team colors, map, background, realistic, simple, and that. I've never done that before, but okay. And then you can choose it to be on the right or left. I can't remember. The space theme, all weird stuff. Video settings if you want to change your graphics, rendering and options, and that audio changes the volume. I could turn up the music a little bit more. There won't be much because I don't want to have it on all the time, but yeah, accounts, I don't know what that means. Labs, what the hell is that? Dota Labs consider features where on player testing as product mixed and presented. Okay. Then there's the arrow keys, so it goes back to whatever you were looking at before. Home button, heroes. This is my custom list, so very okay at, getting good, bad because of Valve, junk, and then the main heroes. But the default is this. So strength, agility, intelligence, universal. If you had plus, you scribe, I think it puts them in roles, but down here you can choose what role they are. And then you can click them all. You can get stickers and whatnot. So the ban thing here is only for certain heroes. Ban apply only to all pick matches. So even if you play turbo or arcade games, that doesn't usually affect anything. Yeah. I prefer to have this, so I can just understand it. And you can create your own one down here. You can create new categories and so forth. So you can just have have like 4 heroes on this, and be like only pick these 4 and ban these 4 and so forth. guides. It allows you to choose a hero on the right, then you go down and then you choose, you can make your own, but percentage on the right is win rate. If you care about that, you can go for it. Trends is a plus thing, I don't know. Armoury, so it goes, this has changed quite a lot. Heroes, so on the left here is all the heroes, you can search them. Here is a pudge. Now what they've done is they've got alternative persona. So and then here underneath pudge is the persona, and I have a Total Butcher. They all have their own items, well, custom items design for it. There's the Arcana. So Immortal is a icon usually, or at least effect in game, and it's gold brown around the item, and it looks cool. It has usually special effects and things like that. Arcana is pretty much all icons change a bit. And the good thing about all these items are in League of Legends, if you buy a set, you have to play that set. In this situation, if you have the Arcana, you only need to equip it to your back. And then they've also added so you can make custom abilities. So you can go in here and say which abilities I would like to allow to edit. So this one is like a claw, this is a harpoon, golden harpoon, special hook, and so forth. And then different icons. So where is Sniper? So for me, I have this. Yeah, I do have this equipped, which changes the icon and it shows up in game with that effect, even though I don't have the item equipped. So that's something that may interest you. World. So Korea, got couriers. So they're little guys that go around collecting. So you can see unavailable, purchasable, so they're gone. And then the owned ones, purchasable, you can see which ones are what. If something's in a treasure, you have to roll and hope to get it. These are my ones. The gold ones are more immortal, base special effects. I like this guy. Let me just go do something quick. Back to Armoury. Yes, so I like this character, this one, because I made a custom game called Dota But something, which I'll get to, and one of the heroes that you can be is a caterpillar, and he does cool attack. He does strong attack damage and weird abilities and things like that. So got him. So there are different states. So in this situation, turns from the bug, the caterpillar, into a butterfly type thing, because every type has like a fly, it has to need a flying effect. And also, every single courier can count as a unit if you want to make a custom unit and have special effects, special, add them into the game. They can still have animations and attack. It's a lot of stuff. I won't go into any workshop related things in these two-part video. This is just explaining a little bit more. Wards. So wards have two there is observer, where's the wording for them? I need to go to learn items, observer, and then sentry. That's the word, sentry. So yes, so each ward has to have 2 types of, one blue, which is sentry, and one observer, which is the yellow one. They're all different styles and different ways of how they get placed as well. There's terrain, which is quite rare. Over different battle passes you can get different terrain. Creeps, you can get different creeps from the different battle pass. They're not purchasable, they're unavailable, but there were different types. There's the bird ones, there's the bug ones, there's the crimson ones, there's the cavernous ones, and then there's the reptile ones. Same with the siege units. Yeah, I just go with default because if you're playing, once again, another workshop thing is if you change the creeps design, you can't now allow people to have their creeps enabled, otherwise it can crash the game. Also the same thing with towers, you can't allow towers to have different designs because sometimes that also crashes. So you're playing normal Dota or arcade game or Dota variation, and the towers are like normal, but in base game your towers are specialized like here, then you know why. This is inspired by the original Treant, which in Dota 1 was your tower throwing rocks at the enemy. This one, I think that's it, yeah. There isn't actually a... There's a bug. I don't think there is a... There's a hand... Oh, what is a bird? That's cool. Bird tower. There's a hand which you can throw. That throws like the ancient hand. But they don't have a tribute to Dire as the Scourge in Dota 1 yet. The Ancient does have its own effect, which is a dragon. You can buy it, and it basically, a dragon goes around the Ancient. Roshan does have different, that's the Dietide, and this is acronyms. So that's 10 years, and then they introduced that. Okay, 10 years. Okay. Yeah, Tormentor. Yeah, one of these, or this, yeah. Matte effects. That can be the shaders, the blue, yeah. So there was a shaded type that looked like, what was that game? Borderlands. Weather effects, so I have autumn enabled. You can, I don't think there are other ones, like they're seasonal ones, so if you get the Dota Plus you can get other effects. There are emblems you can purchase, yeah, and there is terrain, which I said before, which I own, and then you can choose desert I currently equip. There's only one that you can purchase, which is the monkey one. And there's ocean, and sometimes it does overwhelm the environment a bit when you have too many. Yeah, that's what else. Interface. So interface is where you get music, so you can have announcers enabled. In this situation, I have period and flags. In this video, in this situation, should I have it enabled? Or should I just have him as let's have that one equipped. Or should we just go with that and go with just reverse it. You can purchase any of these voices. Some people get Dota 2 just for the there was Rick and Morty in this, so they will be announcing and talking. Yeah. Loading screens, which you can shuffle. You can get a versus screen. HUDs, so it changes symbol. You get a kill streak. I have the gold. You have to spend your shards to get different cursors, emotes, chat wheels, multi-banners. I don't really understand them. Gems. So some items you can equip gems to. Bundles. Some bundles, I guess, and others are just, yeah, like TI announcers and talent crews and whatever. MISC. And there you go. Treasury. Oh, I actually own some of this. Wait a minute. Oh, okay. You have to open them. I need a key for that one. And I need a key for that one. Okay. So previously, Dota chests, this is the crown for one, but Dota chests are, you get this layout, you choose, usually you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. There's 13 here, but you're guaranteed to get one of these items. And if you get this one, you just get the persona as well as so it's worth, you could try get. And then there's the rares, and when Dota 2 was around, there was no option to figure out what the statistics are, and eventually they had to, because of rights and law stuff in a country about gambling and stuff, they introduced, like, you now know what are your chances. So for this rare item, it's 1,000, 1 in 2,000, and every one it reduces drastically. So if you get 10, when 1 in 10 chance to get it. If you get 13, 1 in 6 chance to get it. And then eventually, if you don't get it by even the 35th, you will eventually get the next one. You're guaranteed to get it, as it tells you the odds. And very, even extremely rare, eventually gets, you need 50 to get 1 out 2, and then ultra rare goes all the way to 50 is 1 in 70 odds, which is insane. Some people are lucky, some people are not. And then all items seem to just be all items. I don't know. Is it useful or not? Right. Watch. So, oh yeah, and with items like the armory, you do occasionally get drops for playing games. You get more, I think, if you play with Dota Plus. So watch is live, so you can watch games. You can actually search other people and watch them play. You can find your replays and download them. They do have a 10-day, and then 10 days they're not really useful. Any patches happen, you can't really watch them. You can replay your friends, maybe, if you want to. And then you can watch international stuff, tournaments. Sometimes this comes up live, and you can go and see competitive players. Learn. This is a good place for you to start. If you want to get into, try figure out Dota. Here's where the items are basic, upgrade, and neutral items. You no longer need to worry about what drops. You just get a token and you get 5 options to choose, and then you can pick which one out of them to have, so you don't have to fight over who gets what. So some people have duplicates, that's fine. Some of these items can stack, some of items cannot. These are consumables. Agnem's Scepter upgrade is a consumable if you upgrade it. Yes, secret shop, equipment, miscellaneous, and yeah, all these things. Roshan does drop an item called a banner, Age of Immortal, Aegis. He also drops a Agnem's Scepter, which is the consumable one, and he used to drop shards. He also still drops cheese, and if you combine cheese with a high tier Lotus, you get a shield buff that's permanent. Glossary, so you can, I guess, passively look at things and what lane creeps and towers do, and talk about it. Mechanics, unit level, gold, bounties, experience. Thus, hit denying experience does go up pretty high. Damage, basic attack, ability, armor, magic resist, physical damage, magic damage, pure damage, death. I hate this because the respawns are so punishing, especially late game. It's like 90 seconds, 100, 25 to 30, 12 seconds. It's fine. Unit stats, health, mana, attributes, mobility. So turn rate, vision range, movement speed, with which turns. So those two has turn rate. League of Legends doesn't quite have that account of certain things, but you do need to turn to do actions in this game. Heroes turn to attack in League, but some abilities don't require you to turn to do them. In this, you sort of do, especially if they're directional abilities. Vision range, distance a hero can see if not blocked. Attacks, defense, so damage attacks be base attack time, attack range, projectile speed, armor, magic status, reduces duration negative status effects such as stuns and silence. So resist reduces the impact of stows. Evasion, percentage chance that attack against a hero will miss. Melee but not ranged have 50% chance to block 16 damage from all bullets basic attacks. Active, passive, cooldown, channel, auras, stuns, root, silence, mutant, break, disarm, fear, and that's that. Structures, those are the fillers. Wait, no. Oh, they don't show it, that's fine. It does showcase neutral creeps in here, which is cool. Small neutral creeps, large creeps, and then ancient creeps. Items, recipes, inventory is now changed a bit. Stuff in the stash you can't really use. Backpack slots stop and no cooldowns will happen. Everything needs some things need recipes, auto combining. You can disassemble certain items. Battlefield, Minimap lane, shop, structures. Oh yeah, there's some watches, like basic things. There are runes. So there's water, regeneration, amplified damage, which used to be called double damage, haste, invisibility, illusion, arcana, shield, and wisdom. So the newest ones are shield, wisdom, and water. The old ones were arcane, illusion, invisible, bounty, haste, double damage, and regeneration. Roshan, that's the image that you went with, that's okay. Yes, hoodies are the things he drops. Also a refresher shard. Just a one-time refresher. Tormentors, drop Ago shard. Teamwork. Objectives, towers. Advanced ability targeting. Untargeted unit target bonus. All this stuff to help you. Does it talk about missing though? No, it doesn't talk about height and the chance to miss, that's fine. And there's also glossary, that's the glossary. There's a, so you can go into this is Dota, basic mechanics, getting around, teleporting, and then you get rewards doing so. Then there's other things you can do, and you just play with. You can do a bot match. And then at some point you may see this, so you know, what's this? This used to be a, it's probably outdated now, probably doesn't work, but it is a community tutorial which was introduced instead of this. This was being introduced, right? They were making this, their community, and then Valve was like, you know what, we're going to make our own tutorial, and so they happily added this to it, and they explained how the game works in its own scripted design. Shame we get no bonuses for playing it, but that's fine. Updates. So you can come here and you can go all the way back to 7.08, and you can just look at all the old updates. 7.08 is 2018. All the way to 724 was massive changes, neutral items, any new hero stuff? No. 726 new, 7.27. And I went 730. So a lot of A. So if it goes A, which is basically the name, and the B, C, D, E is basically small patches that are minute and aren't that big. Oh yeah, 7.33 is the Frontier update, and this tells you how much has changed in the Minimap and Roshan and all these new stuff. I guess that's 7.33. That's nearly 2 years ago. God, time goes so fast. Now we're on 7. And I'm leaving Dota. Fun. And here go to Arcade. So Arcade, your overview is a list of games. You can go in, you have to install them. Go here, you click here, and you click install, and then it will run. If it doesn't run and there's issues, uninstall it and install it quickly. That will refresh it, and it will allow you to jump back onto lobbies. One thing about this, if you decline a match, you have an hour cooldown before you can play again. So be careful of that. So if you deny a match in Arcade, you're punished. You can. The annoying thing is when that was going on is if you leave. So if you join the game and it launches, and then eventually at the end you can go back to this screen, and then you can click cancel. You leave, you finish, but everybody has to load in the lobby, and then eventually the timer goes out and it says, oh, it's failed, meaning that that person left and didn't have to get the consequences, and then they can carry on playing whilst you have to wait until your session next time you accept for another session. Right. So these are the games when with Buoy and Dota Butts was a thing a year and a bit ago now. Annoyingly, it's been that long. He still plays Dota 2, not anymore since the 30th or 31st of December, and he's finished that. They did a 12-hour games and left it on his channel, and that was that. Great. I was sort of brought up with him and sort of indulged into the open age arena situation and battles and battleground and all these arcade stuff flooding in. This is like all happening after Reborn. Arcade games was really getting popular a little bit. It's different from Dota, and then eventually I decided that he released like, oh, here's a butt template or a template to allow you to actually develop it yourself. And I'm like, you know what, I'm going to figure out this. So I went, I did it. I made a Dota 2 bot, and I called it Dota Bot King Brains. It was cool. It was great. It had multiple different changes. It took time to get people to actually download and play, but I did a couple games with a couple people. It was good. It was fun, and I got 99 subscriptions to it. So you're playing now, of course. It was in 2019. It was updated. I had a lot of added 4 towers and improved 4 towers. So a lot of like things over time improving it. I really wanted to make creep waves and stuff like that, but I couldn't figure that out. And it's like, so I wrote here, it's an normal Dota 2 but my mind as well. Most heroes apart from 10, which still need to find out, are changed for better or worse. Depends on original Dota 2 gameplay. Most bashes and misstows are reduced so that they are not annoying for players all round, but Broodmother is not in that list. So during this time, this was before Dota 2 said, you know what, we're going to reduce every status effect on characters. So all the stuns used to last 1.2 seconds longer. This basically reduced all the stuns to by 1 or nearly 2 seconds or 1.5 seconds, so you don't always get stuck in being crowd controlled or disabled for so long. The problem with, and now they've done that themselves so that it's more accessible for newer players. And so yes, and continuing, most bashes, jug critical animation only works with other critical items. Don't know why, because I reduced the critical percentage too low and it won't register for some reason. There are 10 runes around the map, find them. I'm still working on 5 wave spawns. Roshan is added and is strong. No level 6 Ursa only late game. That's a reference to, you can basically minute 1 or 2 you can basically solo Roshan with 5 players, and different characters can help you do so. Ursa was one of them. Wraith King was the lifesteal. Lycan possibly with his wolves. So a couple characters can help push the ability to Roshan at the beginning of the game. But also level 6, so when Ursa becomes level 6, he multiplies his basic ability, which, passive, which increases his damage every time he hits. And so now basically Roshan, during this, what I update is basically it does I think it was a 300 damage stun, and it lasts for a bit, but the chance of the stun is reduced, but it did a lot of damage and it stunned for a bit longer, and his attack speed was increased and his health was a little bit better and attack damage. Shop items are changed with 50 plus gold on early items, 100 mini items, 1000 late items. Later on this will change. Can buy secret shop items in normal shops. 3 plus gold in a second, 5 plus gold on jungle creeps. Some jungle creeps like Roshan are improved by Be Afraid. So some of neutral creeps I've changed their stats to make them even more difficult. And this I was able to make the respawn time always 7% a time. Where increase protecting the steps of the jungle. So a lot of times I added natural creeps on the map, so it's like they're actually guarding the objectives. Jungle update done, which added more stuff. Creep military arms update done, map update done, and new item changes next. But then I went with, inspired from video, I do again, but this time I changed the models of everyone to objects like trees, rocks, and so forth. And so I improved that, I did that, and that was, yes. But those two, but Mother Nature steps in. I mean, like, after so many battles between Dire and Radiant, and the cave after so many trees cut down, Mother Nature steps in with anger. So all heroes turned into neutral creatures. So all heroes turned into or objects, from trees to rabbits. The horse heroes' abilities have changed depending on the object. Mother's power could not enter the Dire and Radiant base, but able to kill all creeps. They have the power of ancients too strong for her, so the creeps are just empty solid skeleton bodies with only one command to kill the other ancient. God, this is gonna be a long project. Okay. So yes. So basically I changed the model of normal creeps to skeletons, and weirdly enough, when they're walking, the creep models look like they were covered in ilk because of the actual this green would be sort of half attached to the skeleton, so it looked like they were actually being just corpses, which is cool. But I can't play these games now. I had a lot of subscribers on this one, it was much better outcome, people liked it. This one I just came back, tried to do again in 2020, and then I just didn't work out. I also did it again 2020 with another one, but called something changes, wanting the minimap. This is also during the time when everything broke. Was it It was before then. 728. Yes. The Mistwood update broke the game because when it was introduced, what was it? Aghanim Labyrinth. Yeah, it was Aghanim Labyrinth at this time, and basically you couldn't do anything because the minimap wouldn't stick properly to your screen, so you couldn't see what on your minimap. Scores in the top bar, and also during Dire Tide, the scores were broken, so someone had -1 all the time, and the other team had their score going up, and that was crazy. What happens when a Dire and Radiant swaps places, and also find themselves in the upper land? Change the heroes are different, the same, some are the same. Map change much bigger and short in a family of jungle with 2 temples, towers. Top is bottom, bottom is top, mid is mid. No passive gold, but talents. And then that was with talents was the thing to make gold. And then I sort of tried fixing it, but it didn't work out. So I stopped. And that was pretty much the last thing I did for Dota custom games. And then you can go here, you can choose what you want to play, and then you just play. Just remind yourself, these arcade games are toxic, so that a lot of people are toxic in them, and there's not really a way of blocking or, well, you can still block communications, but you can't really report them because it is custom games. Here is a list, so you can drop down and you can prioritize which one, and you can see how many people in the lobby, and you can join that way if you're able to. Bottom right it says install, but if it's installed it will just say join. And then browse just means you can browse the latest ones that come up. Top rated today, top this week, or public date, so what came out. Some people will be testing it all, and so forth. That's the arcade. Then we'll go touch this, which is Dota Plus. Legacy sets. So these are old sets from quite far from the past, which you can just get quite easily with some gems, kill streak thing, tools. Oh, you can get keys for that, and then you can get relics. So when it was a big thing, I bought all these relics with my gems, and you can basically, that if you got the plus, you basically allows you to know what you're progressing. So trees created, long range kills, and triple, so forth. And yeah, then we've got a notice board. This is like click to the armory, to your items and see what's recent. This is the plus symbol, and then that's just if you want to quit Dota. There we go. This is chat. You can have different there's no limit, yeah. So you can join different channels. So you can have regions, you can have users, you can have players, you can custom games. New player channel is moderated chat, so you can get a new player chat. I don't know how that works. And then we go to here. So we've got Battle Cup, which is you need people for. Don't know, custom lobby, so you can create your own lobby. And people can join you, and you can choose what mode it is, if their cheats enabled, friends, Europe, whatever. You can choose the teams, no team, and so forth. You can coach, you can join, you can an assigned player, you can shuffle, swap teams if you want to. you can add you can turn on empty slots with bots, so you can choose the difficulty of bots. So if you want to train or practice, you can do that, and then you can leave lobby players versus bots, so you can have to choose which one does what. You can have find bot scripts, possibly. You can play solo. You can choose what bot script. You can pick a team. Bots only choose a selected pool of heroes, so not all heroes are used. Ranked. Haven't played ranked for so long. Only 4 games, half 4 losers, yeah. Don't even know, I need to calibrate if you want it. You can do classic, which you can just choose. You can choose which role, or you can go classic and go ranked, or pick or random draft. Random draft, you get a selection of heroes from a pool. Ranked or pick, each team takes turns to select a hero from the end of the pool. More strategic. Unranked, which I'll be doing today. There are other modes called single draft, so you get 3 heroes and you have to choose which one. Random draft, everyone just gets randomly given the 3 heroes to choose from. Ability draft is very fun. It's like a custom game, but it's not. It's actually official as a game, which is nice. So you get a hero, then you choose what abilities you want to add to your hero, and you have to vote on it, like that gets it, and so forth, and it goes in turn. I don't know if facets or things are applied to that. And then a new player thing, I have no idea what that means. I've never played it, I never used it. I recommend playing a couple bot matches and then going in, or get a friend or someone who knows a bit more about Dota, sit down with you and play Dota 2. So I'm going to end this segment here and start a game and record a game of Turbo. And then if that works out, we'll play a very last game of normal Dota 2. So Turbo is basically for me to warm up, and then the last game is just going to be the last game. So thank you very much for watching. This is going to be, so maybe I'll make this 3-parters. Oh my gosh, so long these are. It's going to take some time to process all this, but as long as I've done the recordings, done the recordings of the games and stuff, and then I can show you that I'm going to uninstall it. Right, I'll be right back. And we're back. I just needed to make sure I was recording okay. So Kez is the latest hero, came with the crown full situation, and now we're going to items. Look at that. Old World of Warcraft style designs. Some of these items still exist in the game and some of them do not. Some of the textures or designs are in game and some are not anymore. And they all eventually change, adapt, improve. There were a lot of items in the beginning of Dota because previously you go to many different characters as shopkeepers, and then you buy from them, and then you have to find a recipe, and then you find a recipe in Dota 1, and then you combine those items and then you make one item. In Dota, you already are able to see there's a recipe recipe goes towards the price of the item. Then there are item individual parts, and then you have to buy those parts, and then bam, you have the item. Does it go to the next? No, because you're... For some reason you just don't want to go to the left. There you go. So, yeah. This is the old, but not old. It's just, this is the updated images of what the items are here now. Designs, these have changed. The stats, the model, the texture. There's now neutral items, basic items, upgraded items, and neutral items. There's a lot of items, and previously neutral items went into your stash and you could stack them and you can use them to create. Now it's just it's got its own little spot. TP scrolls also went in inventory. These took up space. Wards took up space. They still go in your inventory, that's fine. Now wards stack, they combine to make it a bit easier. You can switch between which wards. Observer, C, I think the yellow one is C, the blue one is invisible, true sight. There is the two donkey symbols. Previously, Dota 2, you had a way to get items to continue the flow of the game. One donkey per team. Buy that donkey. The support usually buys it. At some point, the upgrade courier is available. You buy that. The courier no longer walks towards you. It flies. It goes over terrain. Everybody had to work together to get their items from the courier, meaning that 5 players are arguing, battling, and confronting each other who is priority of the courier. During this time, supports had no money, and the carries had a lot of items and money. This courier was, so supports always had to go back to the base, like in League of Legends, to buy wards, salves, healing, consumables to support the carry or the cause of the game. In League of Legends, you can just use your warp back, basically, or recall. In this, you just have to walk everywhere. But there are TP scrolls, which were expensive then. 100 pot, that was £50, 50 gold. There used to be much more. Wards used to be much more. A lot of consumables were much more. It was expensive being a support. There used to be 2 supports, not 1. In Dota, you can have 4 supports, 5 supports. Things changed over time. A lot of creep, power creep, a lot of changes, a lot of dynamics, economics, and then you could not buy the donkey. The donkey, everyone has a donkey. So everyone can just wait for their items to get to them. So no, they start with a donkey, that's fine. The thing what happened with that is they decide, okay, now we're going to link the donkey to your gold per minute. When you buy, so you could upgrade the donkey, but you had your own courier, and now when it arrives, that's fine. Once a character kills your courier, your passive gold stops, you have to wait for your time for it to respawn, and you don't get your items unless they deliver it before it dies, and then you have to wait for it to come back. And so this is now non-Dota main stuff that people play. This is a different basis. The arcade. The population of arcade is a lot now, but back when it was starting, loads of people still played base Dota. There was main Valve official game modes, playing normal Dota, and then there was the arcade, or this was introduced during the Reborn era, but this situation was a year after Reborn, and what happened? If you don't spawn in the careers, no one gets passive gold, and sometimes even the games break because there is no career. So people had to code that all in, or somehow go about figuring that out and enabling it a long way, or making their own passive gold option and so forth. It was fun. Then they changed it back. Guess what? What happened with the arcade? They didn't fix it. Valve is great developers, but in the end, it doesn't matter anymore. I'm not playing Dota 2 anymore after this. But Valve didn't fix the issue. So every new arcade game, every new element that involves gold or implements their own resource or something like that, the donkey in the career, it's linked somehow and you have to have it spawned. Anyway, items. Yes, the tome is now gone, so you just now get XP from a wisdom rune instead. Iron Talon is gone. It's now a neutral item. It was gone. A lot of these items left, gone, removed. Quarterstaff is gone, and so forth. A lot of Shadowblade was built from an Echo Saber, and then previously it wasn't. Some of these items were standalone, and now they are combined, and so forth. Many patterns for the game. In League of Legends, there were more variation of mythic, legendary items that you can make. In Dota 2, you used to be able to stack a lot of items, and now they say, oh, this is not stackable, or these effects don't. There used to be items that had modifiers. So Eye of Scally used to be a modifier and it couldn't stack with other modifiers. The Fusel Blade was a modifier. Desolator was a modifier for reducing armor. Venom, Orb of Orb of Venom was a modifier, and so forth. And you couldn't stack them. Some effects, like, oh, you can apply modifiers to characters and so forth. Crits was also a modifier. No longer that. It's just, it happens. The manure or the electric hammer, which there are two types. Is Glimware in this list? No, but there are three types of electric bits, and they were modifiers, and now they're not. So modifiers are pretty much non-existent at this point. Also, lifesteal items have changed quite a bit. Had a mask. Go to Mini-Maps. Right. This is Dota 2 map. Minimap. So top right is dire, dark, grizzly, death, dead trees. Bottom left is radiant, trees, life. But just remember, just because one is more light and the other one is more dark, they're both evil and they will use you to kill the enemy and your teammates and your friends, whatever. They have no allegiance but themselves. There is, these dots are just ward placement options and stuff like that. Yes, so there's the top, there's the bottom, there's mid lane. This is triangle, and this is triangle, and this is, there's other names for it. This is bottom, that's top, jungle. In Dota 2, jungle creeps are not prevalent. You can't jungle in Dota, not even in Dota 1. You could try, but you need at least 4 levels before you can go into the jungle, otherwise the creeps will kill you. Creeps are meant to be a passive distraction from lane creeps, and there are 2 types yet: neutral creeps, lane creeps, and then there are HU creeps and HU creeps and things, and then there's Roshan. Roshan is this red thing, this is where the pit was. You'll see that the pit has changed a lot. These 2 bits are side shop and secret shop. There are a lot of cliffs in this time, a lot of trees and a lot of debris. A lot of people are being put on cliffs and having a really hard time getting off. Today's games, cliffs are rare and not everywhere. When we say a cliff, we mean something that you can get to, but you wouldn't want to stay on because you are stuck, unless you have a blink or a way to travel. And when people get cliffed, you basically, there, it's like a humiliating you, or yeah. Oh, talking is not enough water is clearing. Right, sit up a little bit. Okay. And there are stairs. So in Dota 2, there's a river. There is hills. So there's cliffs. There is raised parts and there are low parts. The lowest part is the river. The highest part are the cliffs. The base, the 2 bases, are their own height and their own placement. Yes. And along the river there are runes. There are different types of runes: double damage, now called bonus damage, regeneration, illusion, water runes, arcane rune, which basically reduces your cooldown and mana reduction, and bounty runes. Bounty runes have their own place now, but they used to be a random chance of whatever the rune is, and then you could use the runes as the bottle and then with the item, and then that bottle item gets consumed. It's a storage system, and then you get 3 new uses of the bottle, which heals you and gives you mana regeneration for a short period of time. Expensive but useful. Yes, so in League of Legends there is some sort of elevation, but it doesn't really affect the gameplay. There is dedicated jungle camps. There are dedicated terrain bits in Dota. If there's a terrain piece like a tree, there are items, a quill, quilling blade, a tango, and battle fury. There is also units or heroes, sorry, that use abilities on trees or those areas, and they can decimate it and destroy the trees. You can also use trees, so some heroes like the squirrel can go through the trees, or treant who can walk through the trees. Just like in League of Legends, if you're the assassin can turn into a shadow form and travel through that terrain with what's it called? There's another character where you jump over that piece of terrain. The terrain in League of Legends is fixed, it's stuck. You have to walk around it. In Dota, if it's a cliff, you have to walk around it. If it's got steps, you can go up them and down them. You can and you can cut down the trees and make your own paths in those trees and navigate. And that's what juking is. You can juke around people because in Dota 2 there's also vision as well as League of Legends, but in the vision counts to your height. So if you're in the river, you can't see above you unless there is a ward or vision by another unit on there. So cliffs, usually no one can see a single unit on it. If you put a ward on there and there's a Monkey King sitting there, or there's a Pudge sitting there ready to hook you, you would then see him. But if you didn't have a ward there, you wouldn't have the vision to see. And sometimes some characters with flying, that could be Winter Wyvern's Q turn into fly mode, you can go onto the cliffs and you can see everything around you. If you're Nature's Prophet, you can just teleport to it. Nature's Prophet and used to Tinker were the two people that can teleport around the place. Tinker can only teleport to units and towers. And then the heroes, Nature's Prophet can teleport to any place on the map, even their fountain, as well as Underlord's portal. You can use that also as his ult, but it's not that useful, unfortunately. It does do a lot of weird stuff though. Yes. Sorry. There you go. So yes. If you're above ground and someone's below you and the person below you attacks you up, there is a chance of missing. Not evasion, not a mischance, there is evasion miss. There's many types of terminology, and then there's just height differentiation. You know, there's the high ground in Star Wars where Obi-Wan said, I have the high ground. Well, the reason why Anakin failed is because a red symbol came up saying you missed because you were lower than Obi-Wan, basically, in that terms. So there's a chance of missing if you're going from high, and you have an advantage if you're higher ground attacking someone below you. Yes, so that is that for this mini-map, and there's nothing really there obvious to talk about. Yeah, the Rosh Pit is more dire sided because it's a little evil and scary, but also lore-wise, Roshan stole something from a secret shop, and that's why he's cursed to be immortal. That's why he's near it. for eternity to fight in the pit of the ancients. This is another patch, a couple of patches in the future. The Rosh Iron pit is moved. The base is changed, so there's now a low ground and then back to high. The mini side shops are still there, the secret shops are there, and the river is smaller, but there's a bit more steps, and the trees have been opened up, and yeah. I think, is it this one? No. I think, and then after that, there was another patch which added shrines. There were shrines. In Dota 2, there were shrines. In League of Legends, there wasn't. There's a set amount of buildings in a base, right? And it's always been some of the rifters. There's these 3 obelisks which you destroy, and then you get this super creep, with super minion, whatever, and it's like a wax, and you can see it on the minimap. There's blob traveling, and you basically does a bit more damage to buildings. It's tanky, it's hard to kill, you get more gold from it. And then there's other small little bits, but not many things to fight in the base. In Dota, there's a lot of occupied little structures because it's based off a strategy game. So there's barracks. They don't respawn, they just die, they're destroyed. I wish there was ability, or there used to be items that used to drop from neutrals where you can use as neutral items to repair structures. Unfortunately, that's no longer a thing, but it'll be cool to see maybe in the future. I don't know, I'm not going to really play Dota anymore. That a builder exists, goes build stuff in the base. Why not? That'd be cool. But in this situation, there is 2 barracks per lane, range and melee. Then there is these little small structures which I'll go into when I play the game. I may not get time to do it right now, but this will be all gathered. This video, there's 2 parts already. This part, last part, which I ended, this part, and then I'm going to put them all together. It's going to be a long episode, and that's going to be fine. Intermission and stuff like that. So yes, take a breather. Right. Yes. In the base, there was 3 shrines added to it. There were 2 shrines outside the base. A shrine would heal half the amount of a fountain, and they still exist in the game, so you can use them in the arcade to construct them, but they were basically, instead of keep going back to base, you can go and fight around a shrine. And they were in the both bottom and top jungle, and then there was one in the up next to the secret shops, and everyone had 4. And there's 4 in the field, and you go and use them, and then they have a cooldown, and then you work around the clock with them. That helped support drastically, and it's also a place you can teleport. And then the only way they can get destroyed is if the tier 2 tower was destroyed, and then you can take out that fountain. Not fountain, shrine. And then we go to the next minimap. Roshan moves. Now is in the middle for Diet and Radiant. Now have to go into the river to fight for. It's not quite one-sided. The areas of the map, there's a little bit more low ground there's a bit less high ground. The shrines were moved, and then they were taken away. They were moved to where the side shops were, briefly, very short, and then they were gone. And in their place are outposts. They give vision, they can see invisible units, and you have to channel them to turn it on for your team. And then you can battle it out. Whoever can get them. But they start out as your side. You can only target them once again once the tier 2 is destroyed. Still teleport to them, and they do not heal you. And they were the same models as the models you used in the Aghanim maze, Aghanim's labyrinth, to decide what door to go through to the next area, what mission to do, and they used those models to make the outpost. And now the outposts in the game, the map's changed a bit, and then bam, another iteration of Dota 2. And then we go to nearly the final one. A bit of changes, and then New Frontier. Outposts no longer give you vision. There is always one next to the Roshan pit, so bottom right and top left. And yes, there is and shrines are completely gone, and the only thing left is the idle structures and the two barracks for each lane, tier 1, 2, 3 and 4 towers, and then the ancient. And there is also some construction, and you can possibly hear, but yeah. There's a fountain. There's something called fountain diving in League of Legends. If you go into the fountain, you die. You just take a lot of damage in a short burst, like normal, but your character just can't withstand that. Towers in this game are tanky-ish, but they attack fast and do a little bit of damage. At level 1, a lot of damage. 2, 3, 4, a lot of damage. 5, 6, 7, 8, not much. And then from 10 to 15, you could go around the tower, but you would still take damage. You would still feel it. And then when you're in your 20s, nearly level 30s, towers become not a threat to you, and so they get destroyed pretty quickly in the games. How the game is played also has changed over time. But anyway, I'll talk about that in a second. But League of Legends towers, the beginning, the tier 1s, have shields. And once the shields go down, you get gold depending on how many shields you break, and then they disappear. And then they shoot a big blast, and then you just suddenly go through them, and then they're always tight around it. In this, you can sort of work around the towers quite well through the trees. You can cut down trees and stuff, and you can just navigate them. If a tower sees you, attacks you, in Dota, you can auto attack or force attack your own unit or enemy unit. Sometimes that works, and it will change its direction to a lane creep that's closest. Tower will prioritize a hero if you are fighting a hero, but it will still allow you to remove aggro from the tower, but in League of Legends, if you're attacking a hero, you are immediately a champion, you're immediately targeted from the tower, and you have to run out of this area. And also, if you dislodge yourself in Dota 2, the tower would stop shooting you and shoot the nearest target until that target is dead, unless you become the closest thing to that target, and then it will change to you before it defeats that creep or you target. There's that. And then now let's talk about the different type of playing the game. In League of Legends, you just go passively through tower to tower to tower to the base, and then eventually people surrender, usually by the time all tier 2s are gone. Surrender, game's over, there's no point playing the game anymore. Boo-hoo. That's why I don't like League of Legends, because your your attention span is small, and you won't sit there for an hour, a half hour to 2 hours, 3 hours. You won't even sit there for 6 hours to finish a game. I'm joking. Games can go on that long in Dota 2. If you look up the longest Dota 2 game, you'll be like, I could play nearly as 10 league games in that time. That's why people may play League of Legends, because it's shorter, easier, faster paced. Because the thing about League of Legends is once you have everything, once you have a couple items, that's it. The ball rolls and you are out. You can't really come back to the game. In Dota, if you are still 20 kills down, 30 kills down, you still have at least a 35% chance or 45% chance of winning. There's always a chance to come back in Dota. So yes, let's talk about how the game is played quickly, and then we go into the next subject. So you see here there is middle. This is the shortest point of the map, and then top, and then which one is that? Right, so I'm back. The Hero's turned off at the moment. Yes, so here is the original UI thing for UI or HUD or interface, what do you want to call different. You can get different HUDs on the workshop or the Armoury. This one makes it look like there's a dragon elements, and yes, so originally there's on the top there is time. There's also a night cycle in Dota 2. I think there is a night cycle in Dota 1, but League of Legends there is no time, apart from certain things happen at certain times. But the so it starts. It's changed over time, but I think it starts at day. No, it starts at night, and then it becomes day, and then it becomes night, and then day and night, and they change things. There is a hero that uses that system to advantage. Some abilities make it nighttime, and some abilities make it daytime. Night Stalker, I think, is the only one really gains the most benefit at night. At night time, he gains attack speed, movement speed, and he gains ability bonuses for doing the ability, casting ability in that time. He also changes model design. He walks in the day, he stalks at night. He's a day walker and night stalker. Yes. Here is Bristleback with So in this is the portrait. You can make it animated, not animated, depending on your graphics settings. There's usually a button that allows you to see a point of view of the character in not just top-down view. There's next to it is the movement, armor, and attack damage. In the later ones there will be different symbols. Here is your attributes. So it's like a RPG style thing. They went with heroes and stuff. There's strength, agility, intelligence. He's a strength, so it's highlighted, and he gains more strength bonus than agility and intelligence. Q, so different keyboard bindings you can change. The default is QWER. When I set up my original game, I had a strange thing, and because I have WASD as moving the camera, so my key bindings are QERF. F is ultimate, but R is also ultimate for people with standard array. So QW, so it's always, so some heroes have a passive. Some heroes at some point had a passive, and now they've mostly have actives or sub-active or autocasts, or you can autocast this or so forth, and you can change certain elements of the abilities. In this instance, Q has so every ability has 4 levels, apart from the ultimate, which is 3. There is some sim characters that had 4, 5, and that may have changed in the past and changed now, but it's mostly everything has 4. Invoker is the only one. No, some characters have 1 level increase, but Invoker has 7 levels for each different thing. Invoker's a complex hero. So usually there's 4 abilities in the HUD. Some have just everyone has at least a ultimate. Some have 2 ultimates, like Widow, not Widow, Dark Widow, Willow. Can't remember. Anyway, so in this instance, Bristleblack had 3 abilities, 1 ultimate, and you can only level them in a certain order. So you can have level 1 Q, level 2 and E for me, I'm going with. So Q, E, and then Q, E, but you can't level this. You can't level the same one at the same time until you get a certain level, and then you can level it as many times as you like. At this period of time, you could increase, instead of increasing your abilities, which you should do. Well, you can do, don't have to. There was the ability, like here, it says plus 20, without any items. You can level this up. This was a part of the base game of Dota 2, was leveling up your stats. In current Dota, this was re-implemented, but it's a very fidgety process, and usually something you do from you naturally upgrade once you're level 18 onwards. It just naturally does until you get to But yes, this was removed for a long time, and then they brought it back, which is fair. Ice Frog probably did that. Yes, and then there's the shop, and then there's the glyph, bottom right. There's the kill, death, and last hit ratio. No courier. That's where you used to have the buttons. This you can buy quick shop, so you drag items from the shop in here, so you know which ones you're queuing up. you have a teleport to scroll as default. You can change what that one is, and usually it goes here and then you use that to teleport. And that is just basically the minimap is here. You can change it around, so these two go here, or is it just this section goes there and the shop goes there? Anyway, you can change it depending on which settings. Top left is the little thing, so I don't know what that one is. That is leaderboard, like kills gold, who's got what items and so forth. That is something. One of those is communication and mic and stuff like that. Chatting was enter for me. I don't know many other buttons. Shift enter is everyone. You can also do /all and then type. And when you type, it comes up saying your team, if it's, or allies, if it's when you're talking, and it shows your character and your name, and then it just the text. You can also have emotes in the chat, and you can also have announcements, announcers speak in it, and so forth, or heroes voices, and yeah. You can mute people if you want to. I do suggest you do that, just not allow toxicity. If you don't like people saying bad stuff, mute them by text and voice. If you mute just the text, you can still hear them. If you mute the voice, you can still see their messages. If you mute both of them, you stop the player from pinging the location. If you want to ping, you click Alt and you click on the floor. You can also ping the minimap. You can also write on the minimap by holding down the control button. Of course, all these may be different depending on what your layout is. Let's go to this. This is Reborn. The layout is a bit smaller, the symbols are a bit smaller. The scan was introduced. The minimap, you can see the Roshan's in the middle of the pit of the river. Talents were introduced, so you can see level 11, the right one is being learned. That some of those talents were generic, like reduce cooldown, respawn timer, increase gold per minute, here's 100 gold, here's 100 attack speed, here's 250 damage, and the more the time went on, the talents became more related to abilities. And so let's say you have a ability that does 100 damage to someone and slows them. Maybe a talent says you can either increase the percentage of slow or increase the overall damage of that ability. In this situation, some of the head changes moved the attack, defense, and the movement above inventory. 3 backpack slots were added. So there's more inventory space, so you can drag and put in. This was also when we had our own couriers, I think, at some point. And yeah, and Echo Saber was pretty cool. Echo Saber used to build into Shadow Blade. Now it built into Harpoon. Yes, and then the ability and the health and mana are still there. So top is health, bottom is mana. I think it's the same in League of Legends. If you're a League of Legends character that does not have mana, your abilities will have some sort of alternative. Like Garen does not have any mana. There's only one hero that does that, and it's Huskar, and he only uses health as a resource. And no longer uses mana, which is pretty cool. The top's a bit, yeah, so the night cycles, now it's just sun, and then it tells you when it's night time, and there's also still the howl of night, and the cock-a-doodle-doo for day, I think. And yeah, so I'm used to the top left where it's just settings and the dash down, and in a dash down you can mute and stuff and do a bit more interaction in there. You can also report to people, and you can report to people now from 1 minute, 5 minutes, or just in general. And there's now a thing, if you are a Dota Plus person, you get to Overwatch, so you get to watch people's reports, and you only get like 3 Overwatch per day or something, and it's the community making the decision if it's bad or good. Yes, and so you can see the items are in the quick buy. The courier has a movement and move to and shop, and yes, and now we go to the next update to this one. Yes, this is the demo mode, so you know on the left is demo stuff, but mainly it's the HUD. So down here they've changed talents to be a circle. You no longer go from 25, you get everything. You now go to level 30, you get everything, but you now have to select each one, unfortunately. But yes, you go from choose which one of the tree, and then they all get unlocked. Some people want to get to level 30 fastest because of a certain build. This is the thing about talent trees, is it changes how you play the hero as well. Yes, so the Stormbringer, a new hero. So they've added talent trees. They've added some things on the left. So there's attack speed, armor, some sort of status restrictions. I think that's magic resistance, movement. You have agility, strength, agility, intelligence. You have the level. You no longer have. Was it squares or something like that? I don't think it shows it in here. Yeah, it was squares. And they've changed it from squares to circles. Your debuffs and buffs. Green is bad. Sorry, green is good and red is bad. And you can and it shows when that debuff is running out, and also. And next to the alt is now 2 symbols. They introduced shards. So Academic Scepter used to be a 1 item. You buy it, you keep it, and it's a start. It gives you stats, health, and it upgrades an ability or an ultimate and makes you stronger, better. And sometimes that changes the game of your character, of your hero, how you play it. For example, AA, or Ancient Apparition, goes from a caster, a support, to a core / carry, and you're just Agam Scepter, rush it. You just use your basic attacks, throw, it has no cooldown, it has reduced mana cost, and you're just shooting snowballs at people, and you just kill. You just you become sniper, and you just attack and attack and attack, and then very strong. And that is just by buying 1 item that changed the whole dynamic of your hero. This is why Dota 2 is so good. It's because there's so much more variation of heroes. They're not like champions who are stuck in their specific role. A jungler can't be a DPS. A jungler cannot be a support. A jungler can be a top laner and still be a tank and similar things, but in the end their play style is stuck to that champion's format. And in Dota you can change that to be something else, and that's what I like about it, is the variation of items. And Dota also is utility. You can be like, okay, I'm a right clicker, but how could I change this? You can turn into a caster, get a Dagon, get a Rod of Atos, get a U Scepter, get a Hex. You can just start bashing out your items on people and basically crowd control or Hex, stun, neutralize, disable, that's the word, disable the target for other people to deal with. So Sniper can be a caster and a right clicker, but it's up to you. Make your decision. Also, every patch is different. Sniper had an ultimate with Agon Scepter. You could target an area and it applied a crit and attack as attack modifier, meaning that your attack, damage and a crit and ult that target multiple people from a 3,000 unit distance, you could do a get a rampage. Not anymore. That's changed. Yeah, so the HUD shards were introduced, so you can have shards and they get dropped by Roshan. Until recently, they're no longer dropped by Roshan. Their tormentors are now a thing, which drops them. Like a mini boss. A stationary mini boss. Then there's Agon Scepter, but this time, if you consume it, it stays. So Agon Shard is a consumable that automatically consumes, or you have to press it and eat it. Now they're consumed instantly, and Agon Scepter is also consumed. You can consume it or you can keep it. If you're Alchemist, you'll break it down and you can give it to other people to have as a consumable to them. Right. Not much has changed apart from in normal Dota, not Turbo, but in normal Dota, you can press the shield button to make your career immune to damage. And the last one is this. We no longer have just the circle, we now have what League has. We have in League of Legends, sorry, I'm comparing these two because they're the only two that are similar but they're not the same. Dota 2 is better, League of Legends is worse, but they have similar elements, similar people, similar communities. Here we have, similar to the League of Legends, Innates, something that is inherited into the hero. So for this one is, for Viper was he gains 1 level automatically in his skin, meaning that he naturally has a resistance, a poison once you hit him, and a slow for hitting him for a short duration. And that can still get leveled up if you want to. And then there is a facet. Facet, at the start of the game you have 2 choices, some characters have 3, and you choose that, and now that character gains that bonus. It's similar to a scepter or shard, but this thing is you keep forever. You don't have to purchase anything for it, and you choose one, you keep that one, that's it. One of the coolest, interesting silencer. It's called silencer. What does that mean? When you are silenced, you cannot cast abilities or spells. In lore it's called spells, but abilities in general. And so you can still add, you can still use items, you can still do that, but you can't cast any spells. Passives stay active, that's fine, but it's the active abilities cannot be used. That includes alts. Guess what facet Silencer has? It's in his name. He can't be silenced. Meaning, he negates all silences, meaning that he can use all his abilities whenever he likes, as long as he's not being hexed or muted. No, muted is item silence, basically. But he basically doesn't need to worry about silence. You can get stunned. Stun, you can't do anything, but you can still cast spells when you're silenced. It's like having a freebie. Yes. Those are the iterations of Dota throughout the year. Did I go through items, minimap, HUD? I want to look at the this. What is this? What am I looking at? This will be it, last bit, and then I'll go on to a game part. I don't know. Anyway, this is the icons for abilities. These are all the old, new, and non-existing. Some of them are removed, some of them still exist in the KV files, and some of them do not. Just to talk about all the elements in the game a bit more in depth and how play it, and then I'm going to play my last actual Dota 2 game as normal. So Turbo's going to be talking about Heroes, Armoury, Watch, Learn, Arcade, the other buttons of this interface that you can sort of see in the background, and then I'm going to go into depths of the game, playing the game, and then I'm going to play. It's slowly falling away, I guess. It's what I'm saying. It's like I've been here for too long, and now it's time for me to say enough is enough, and I've played enough of you, and it's time for me to move onto into the shadows, into the fog, into the light, into the sun, and say goodbye to the game that I play for many, many years. And with that, good bye.